And maybe if it's a little too uncomfortable to be sitting, it's okay if you need to come down to a laying position on your mat. No matter which position you choose, whether it's that laying or the sitting, just check in. Allow yourself to get comfortable. So maybe move those sitting bones. Allow the legs to come into a comfortable position. And then lengthen the spine, whether you're sitting or laying. You're just going to feel, if you're sitting, those sitting bones pressing down, legs grounding down. And then the spine, all the body from that part up, just reaching up towards the ceiling. And if you're laying down, it's that same kind of movement, but you're just going to feel it kind of coming out instead of up. And you might even tuck the chin a little bit. And if you're laying, you might even tilt the pelvic. You might feel that low back starting to come down to the mat. So you start to lengthen that tailbone forward instead of down. Good. And then close the eyes when you're ready. Try to keep the spine gently lengthened. But begin to soften the rest of the body. So relax the face. Let go of any tension you might be holding on to in the forehead. Allow your eyes to just be gently closed. And even your eyeballs just begin to gently slow instead of being in that rapid movement. Let the cheeks soften. And really start to relax your jaw here. Just creating some space between your top and bottom row of teeth. As you begin to create this little bit of space, maybe even seeing if you can let that tongue slip into that space, helping to keep the jaw relaxed, softening the tongue as it lays there. And then it also starts to relax the throat. Relax your shoulders, start to soften them, maybe even shrugging them up and down so you can really let them release away from the ears. And then spread the hands and the feet a little bit just to let them soften and relax, coming into a neutral place. Sometimes we're gripping our feet in our hands and we don't realize it. So creating that little bit of mindfulness is always good, just checking in. And if at any point you start to notice you're drawing tension into these places that we just relaxed, notice that you're doing that and then just simply relax it the best you can. And it takes practice. But the more you're mindful of it, the more you're aware of it, it becomes a lot easier with time. And now that our spine is lengthened, but the rest of the body is just relaxed and softened, see if you can do the same with the mind. Its only effort is to just be in the present moment. And the ease part of that is just seeing if you can start to let go of those distractions, those stories that you brought in with you as you sit here on your mat. Because our minds love to wander. They love to go on stories, to ramble. So when you notice this happening, sometimes it's not as much as letting go, it's just letting it be. Letting it pass. And just drawing that energy, that awareness back in. focusing on what's happening in the present moment, the here and the now, such as you listening to my voice and connecting to your body. And as you've probably heard me say many times, if it really starts to wander and it's hard to draw it back in, use your breath as an anchor. So right now, just begin to focus on your breath, your natural inhale and your natural exhale. Try not to control it or change it, but just to simply let it be and to become aware of it. Good. Now begin to deepen and lengthen that breath. And keep drawing that awareness into that breath and into this moment. So as you're deepening that breath, check in. Are you still softening your shoulders? Are you still relaxing that jaw, having a slight little space? Maybe that tongue still slipped between the teeth. Are the hands and the feet softened? And as you're breathing deep, are you keeping those areas relaxed? And to help you go a little deeper into the breath and into relaxation, into connecting with the moment, take that breath past the chest if it's stuck there, bringing it down into the diaphragm, maybe even deeper, as much as you can, swirling around into the deepest part of your belly, coming all the way back up and out. So just continue that, deepening that breath, taking it down as far as you can. Good. One more. Take a deep breath through the nose. And exhale fully out through the mouth. And maybe you might even make a sound, a sigh noise. Good. Draw the hands into prayer. Relax the shoulders and the jaw. Take your hands as they're into prayer and the thumbs coming to the chest as it connects to the heart. In this posture, begin to set your intention, your Sankalpa. Listen to what comes up and honor it. And sometimes we can't think of anything, and that's okay. Maybe it's an I am statement. Maybe it's an old intention that you know to be dear and true, something that you just can always come back to when you need it. Now, once you have set that intention, just repeat it once back to yourself, remembering it, holding on to it. Once you've repeated it, start to release the hands down by the sides or into the lap and begin to open the eyes back to your room. And as you open those eyes, don't become distracted. Sometimes we do. We automatically begin to look at the different things. Take a moment and just see if you can take a deep breath and draw that awareness back in. Good. All right. For those of you that are sitting, we're just going to come down to a laying position for a moment. And as you come down, as I always say, just allow yourself a little bit of room. So if there's anything kind of in maybe arm's distance as you're coming down, just start to kind of push it out of the way a little so that you have your space created for you already. If there's anything behind you, give it a little move, sorry. And then start to lengthen those legs and reach those arms up and overhead if they're not there already. Reach, give yourself a full body stretch. And then exhale, arms come down, toes point up, tuck the chin in slightly. Soften those shoulders. Good. When you're ready, you're going to do that same movement, reaching the arms up and overhead. Reach the hands, point the toes. It's like you're being pulled from one end to the other. Your body is being stretched. And then exhale, the arms come down and the toes point up so the feet are slightly engaged. Good. Inhale, do that one more time. Full body stretch. Give yourself that movement you need. Maybe it's a little bit side to side. Keep breathing though, it's easy to hold it. Good, and then release when you're ready. Arms back down, toes back up. Good. Tuck the chin, soften the shoulders. Take a deep breath in. Take a deep breath out. Draw your right knee in towards the chest. Wrap the arms around that leg. Keep that foot engaged, the toes still pointing up, the heel still acting as though it's grounding down. If it feels good, you can really start to draw that knee in towards the chest. Give yourself an extra little stretch. Good. Then inhale, what you're going to do is draw your left arm out to a T. With your right hand, you're just going to start to draw that right knee over to the right gently. So maybe it's a little movement. Maybe you can go a little bit deeper, almost down to the floor. And just come into a place where you're not adding too much effort into the body, so there's not drawing any tension. The left shoulder can be gently drawn down. And then keeping that right hand on that leg, doesn't matter if it came down to the floor. Begin to gently use it to draw that leg back to center. Good. Wrap the arms back around the knee, drawing it back in, giving yourself a little bit of squeeze. Good. Engage the feet if you lost it. It's the easiest part to lose. Tuck the chin in a little bit, draw the shoulders down. Good. Draw your left arm out at T. We're going to do this movement a few more times. Begin to open that knee over to your right side, slowly breathing deep, keeping the foot engaged. Keep that left shoulder down, so come into a place. If it starts to lift, you pause. But maybe the hip is talking to you, so listen to it. Maybe you want a little extra effort. That's one reason I haven't gone all the way down to the floor, is I like to have that little extra effort through my thigh, through my legs. Good. Inhale, use that right hand, slowly draw the leg back up. Wrap those arms back around, squeeze the knee in. Good, keep the feet engaged. Create a little bit of core. Start to engage the abdominals. Good. Soften the jaw. Left arm out at T. Try to draw that left shoulder down the best you can. Then start to draw that leg over to the right. Come into a place where you can be in stillness. Breathe deep. If the foot drops, lift it. Let it be in that same movement or in that same alignment with the knee. If it becomes too much, that's okay. I understand the foot does need to come down. Breathe deep. Good. One more breath. Draw that knee in. Wrap the arm around. Squeeze. Good. Now keep the left hand on this right knee. Draw the right arm out at T. So opposite arm into opposite leg. Now you're going to begin to kind of come into a twist by drawing that left arm, helping it to guide the right leg to the left side. Good. So as you get here, if it feels good for you, you can keep the knee bent or you can begin to straighten the leg. Good. Try to actively draw down this right shoulder. And you can gaze in the opposite direction. Sometimes that feels good. And even this left hand can come back to T if that feels best. Sometimes we feel an extra stretch as it's kind of on the leg. Breathe deep, lengthen both legs if they're there. Good. Bend that right knee. Use your core. Draw that knee back to center. Good. It should feel good after opening that hip. We just wanted to do a nice little counter twist. If you want one more little squeeze with that right knee, draw it in. Good. Then give that leg a little lift. Arms back out at T and slowly lower that leg down to the mat. Good. Now when you're ready, re-engage if you need to. Core, tucking the chin, softening the shoulders. Start to draw your left knee in and wrap the arms around that leg. Activate your feet. It's the easiest part to let go of, that and the core. So you might hear me say to engage them throughout practice. Breathe deep. Soften your jaw. All right, so your right arm comes out at T. As it does, keep your left hand on the leg. Begin to gently help open that hip so you're drawing that leg over to the left. Come into a place where you feel maybe a good stretch, where you're not jarring or kind of lifting this right shoulder up, but you can just draw it gently down to the mat. Maybe you want a little extra effort, even if the leg can come all the way to the floor by gently hovering. Draw the core in, breathe deep. Use that left hand to draw that leg back to center. Engage the feet. Squeeze that leg back in with both arms. Good. So you did the same movement on the other side. We're just going to explore. Arm comes back out to T. Left hand helps to guide that left leg over. Opening that hip. Engaging the feet. Drawing the core in and breathing deep. Back to center when you're ready. Wrap the arms around that knee. Good. Do this 2 more times at your own breath. At your own pace. Breathing deep and checking in. That second time when you open the hip, come into a place of stillness. Again, try to keep the foot hover, but it's okay if it eventually does need to come down because sometimes we get tired. We just need a little less effort happening. Good. One more deep breath. And draw the knee back to center. Wrap the arms around. Give yourself a little hug. Good. Right hand stays on the left leg, so opposite arm to opposite leg. Then your left arm comes out at T. Use that hand to help guide that leg over to your right so you start to come into a twist. Try to keep the left arm down the best you can. Good. Then when you're ready, you can lengthen that right leg. You can always keep the right hand on the leg if you want that different stretch, or draw the arm out to T. So it's just what feels good. Engage the feet. You can gaze in the opposite direction if that feels good. Good. Gently bend the knee. Using your core, come back to center. Good. You can draw the arms around, give yourself a little squeeze to that leg, and lift the leg up. Arms come back out at T as you gently lower that left foot down to the mat. Good. Realign, re-engage. Sometimes we get a little bit off the mat. Sometimes our clothes like to kind of shift, and sometimes our bodies just need a kind of little release. All right. So keep the arms out at T. Start to bend the knees. Feet start to come onto the mat. Then walk them over to the edges so they come wide. Good. So the feet come wide. You're going to spread the toes, lifting them up, creating grounding. So feel the inner sides of the feet. Also feel the outer side of the feet coming down. And then slowly release those feet. Good. Do the same thing kind of with the hands. Spread those hands. Those fingers are going to reach up towards the ceiling and then slowly lowering them back down to ground the hand completely into the floor, into the mat. Try to draw the shoulders down and away from the ears, but onto the mat as well. Tuck the chin and relax your jaw. Create some abdominal engagement by drawing that core in slightly. As you take a deep breath in, on your exhale, lower your knees to the right and gaze to the left. Check in, make sure you're not drawing tension anywhere into the body. Using that core, draw your knees back to center, your head back to center, realign, re-engage. Good. Begin to flow through these movements going side to side. So knees to the left, gaze to the right. When you're ready, then come back to center. Good. Flow through these movements, breathing deep and checking in. Good. Very next time your knees come over to the right, pause there. As you pause there, check in and find where you might need a little extra effort, where you want a little ease to the body so the energy is being balanced. Start to relax the jaw. Maybe create a little bit of core and breathe deep. Good. Come back to center, knees and head. Make sure feet are wide, core is engaged. Then lower when you're ready to the left. Gaze to the right. Soften shoulders, core, being engaged, going back towards that spine. Really soften the jaw. And don't let the hands grip. Forgot to mention that on the other side, but it's easy to do in this position. back to center. Walk the feet in closer. Draw knees in, wrap the arms around, little hug. Then head comes back down if it did come up. Rock a little bit side to side just to kind of release and notice what you're feeling. One more rock. Okay, come back to center. Either rocking to one side to come up or wrapping one ankle over. Just come on up to a seated posture. Good. Now from your seated posture, what you're going to do is draw the legs out in front of you so that they're lengthened, heels down, toes up. Good. Lengthen up through the spine, soften the shoulders. Good. Now start to bend the right knee, draw that knee in. Give yourself a little hug, lift up through the spine, don't let it start to round. If it does, just kind of helps to squeeze that leg in. Draw the shoulders down, good. But now, when you're ready, keep that spine a little bit of it lengthened, a little bit of engagement to the core. Open that knee to your right side. See if you can draw that foot into the thigh. Good. Now, move those sitting bones if you need to. Rotate slightly to that left foot and reach the arms up and overhead. Soften those shoulders. Exhale, you're going to come into a fold to that leg. Good. Once you do, soften and release. Let go of tension through the shoulders, through the neck. Good. Gently come back up. Reach the arms back up and overhead. Good. Exhale, fold back into this leg. Good. Make sure that foot's engaged. Toes pointing up. That right foot's engaged into the thigh. You're softening the shoulders, relaxing the neck the best you can. Breathing deep, using your core. Come back up. Reach those arms back up and overhead. One more time. Soften shoulders, core in, foot engaged. Come into that fold towards the left foot. Good. Breathe. Soften. Not that foot, not that core though. Keep those engaged. Good. Come back up one more time. Reach those arms up and overhead. Feel that lengthening through the spine. Good. Draw the arms down by your side. Good. Soften out those shoulders. Then draw the right knee in. You want to give yourself that little squeeze. And lengthen that right leg onto the mat. That foot now is engaged. Heels down, toes up. Draw the left knee in, squeeze. Then open that hip. The knee comes to the left side. The foot comes into the thigh. Check in with the right foot. Make sure it's still slightly engaged, toes up. Good. Lengthen through the spine. If you need to move those sitting bones, move them. Good. Little shift to the right. Reach the arms up and overhead. Soften those shoulders. Create a little bit of core. Begin to fold into that right leg. As you do, relax the hands. Tuck the chin in a little bit to just kind of release. So you're not holding anything up. Your only effort here is a slight core engagement and the foot engagement. Breathe deep. Come back up, reach the arms back up and overhead, soften shoulders, core, feet, fold back into that leg. Relax as you get there. Don't hold anything up. The only effort, as I said, is just that foot, maybe a little core, and breathing deep. Good. Come back up one last time. Reach the arms up and overhead. Soften shoulders. Fold into that leg. Create your foot engagement. A little bit of core. Soften where you can and just breathe. come back up. But reach the arms up and overhead. Reach, feel that spine lengthening, but soften the shoulders. Good. Draw the arms down. Draw that left leg in. Give yourself a little arms wrapping around or squeezing in. Draw the shoulders down. Good. Then lengthen that left leg to meet the right. Good. If those legs want a little wiggle, give them a little wiggle. Soften out the shoulder. Maybe the neck, a little release. Notice as things have changed, how your body starts to feel. Good. You might have noticed tightness maybe through the back as you fold it. Maybe you notice tightness through the hips. So it's just always good to be aware of these things. Good. All right, I'm just going to shift to you so it's a little easier for you to see me. All right, so your legs are lengthened. All you're going to do is start to draw the legs back into a seated position, crisscross, but not fully crisscross. So one leg is going to be right in front of the other so that they're not stacked like ankle to ankle, but just one leg in front. All right, so move those sitting bones again if you need to as you shift. Your body likes to shift and change. So right leg, you're going to take your left hand, draw it underneath of the ankle and the foot. So you're holding on to that kind of bone almost area. Then your right hand, you're either going to draw it underneath of that calf or maybe holding on to the knee. So it's just going to be where it feels more comfortable for you. For some, this may give you a better stretch, and for some, this gives you better stability. So just kind of feel what feels good. All right, so start to engage that right foot as though it's pressing against a wall to the side. It might feel a little weird, and you might be like, "Ooh, my hand felt that, felt something pop," or maybe it felt just kind of that engagement happen. Good. Don't let the foot drop. So find that engagement where that ankle feels flat or straight. And my leg is up high, so for many of you, it's not that high, and it just can't get there, and that's okay. So engage that core and just start to lift the leg up a little bit here. Good. Breathe deep. If you want, you go a little bit higher. Try not to lean back or come into that rounded spine. So keep drawing the core, lifting, and gently draw that leg down. Good. Breathe, relax. Notice if you were drawing tension in the shoulders, relax them. Good. Gently start to lift that leg back up. Breathe deep. Engage that foot. Good. Gently release back down. Good. All right. Lift back to where you feel comfortable. Breathe deep. Good. Slowly release. Good. And when you're ready with this right leg, just begin to lengthen it out in front of you. So you might have to move your left foot a little bit. Good. Wiggle out. Maybe draw those ankles into circles. Just make sure you switch up your circles. But notice how the leg feels, the hip feels, all of that. Good. Now draw that leg back in. All right, so usually, and I probably should have said this last time, the right leg usually is in front. So if that left leg was in front, sorry, this might feel a little awkward, but draw now that left leg in front. Right hand comes underneath of that ankle. Good. Hold on to that bone, but engage the foot. Again, it might feel weird. You might be like, ooh, it popped on this side. I know what you're talking about now. This left hand can come underneath of the calf or maybe onto the knee. It's just going to be where it feels most comfortable. Good. Draw the shoulders down, core in. Try to keep that spine lengthened. Good. Lift the foot up as high as the body feels comfortable. Now, when I say that, I'm not telling you to draw any pain into the body, but just coming into a place where you feel maybe a little stretch, or maybe where you're just like, oh, this is some nice flexibility. This feels good. Breathe. Gently release. Good. Come back up. Try to pull that foot closer to you, because sometimes our knee can be up, but our foot's dropping down. Just kind of what I was talking about the last time. So don't let it drop. Keep the ankle into that nice flat position, and breathe. Slowly release. All right, last time. When you're ready, come into a place where you can lift and stay in stillness. Breathe deep, engage that foot, draw the shoulders down, core in, lengthen that spine. Breathe deep. Good, gently release. All right, if you want, you can slowly draw that leg out. Maybe give it a little wiggle, and you might have to move that right foot out of the way. Good, maybe ankles in circles. Just always switch up that direction. Good. Notice how the legs feel, hips feel, and draw that leg back in. Good. Give the shoulders a little shrug. Maybe even those ankles, or sorry, those wrists a little shrug because you're holding up the foot, the feet in different positions. Good. I'm just kind of showing you different ways. You can kind of interlace, come in circles. You can just kind of roll. Good. All right. Now, for some of you, you might have some sensitive needs. We've been having rainy weather. So if you need a blanket, please use a blanket for some padding. Sometimes we have some arthritis in our hands or our wrists, and sometimes we also need some padding for that area. So you can always, for knees, for hands, you can create just a little bit of padding with your mat by just kind of taking a little piece of it and folding it over. You can do that with the knees, with the hands, and you can even do it with the blanket, just kind of creating a little padding that you need for those knees or for those wrists. And then come into your position. So many of you know you find your foundation by wrists under your shoulders, knees under your hips. I'm just adjusting my clothes. Good. Now make sure you can look back and that you don't see the toes touching. And those ankles seem to be in line with those knees the best that they can. Wrist in line with the shoulders. Spread the hands so you create grounding through the palms, but you're not gripping the hands or the fingers. Gently gaze down so you're lengthening the spine. Draw the core in slightly. Good. Tuck the chin. Round the spine up. Good. Now see if you can draw your toes together. Knees start to come wide so they find the long edges. Now slowly draw your hips down and back. As your hips come down and back, let them come to your heels. Let your head come down towards the mat and let the arms and shoulders relax. So sometimes our head hovers, and that's okay. It's just where our body feels comfortable, where we're kind of coming into our child's pose, where we're at. So if you need to draw the hands underneath of the head to kind of help rest, you can, sometimes even stacking. Good. So allow yourself to get there. Good. Come back up when you're ready to hands and knees. And the knees are wide, so try to draw them back slowly underneath of the hips. Feet back in line with those ankles. Wrists back underneath the shoulders. Now draw the core up and in, but draw the shoulders down and together. Good. Keep drawing that core up. Keep drawing the shoulders together. Good. Breathe deep. Now curl those toes. You're going to start to shift the weight back. So you're going to feel a little stretch into the feet. Then hover the knees. Breathe. Keep drawing the core. Then lift the hips up. Chest slowly being pushed back towards those hips, towards those thighs. Let the gaze look back so you see those knees. Good. Pedal out those legs. Probably going to feel good getting that nice little stretch. All right, draw your knees back down onto the mat. Uncurl those toes. Deep breath in. Exhale, tuck the chin, round the spine. Now toes together, knees wide, finding the long edges. Slowly draw your hips down and back, come into the child's pose. That feels comfortable for you. Good, come back up to hands and knees. Find your foundation, knees under hips, wrist back underneath of the shoulders. Good, draw the core in and up, draw the shoulders together and down. Good, the shoulders are coming together, draw that core up and in. Breathe deep. Curl the toes, cover the knees, breathe, then lift into your down dog. Hips up, chest slowly kind of going back towards those thighs. Shoulders coming onto the back and away from the head. Gazing at those knees. Pedal out those heels, bend those knees. Give those legs a little movement. Maybe even notice how the hips feel as you do that. Good, breathe deep. And come down to hands and knees. All right. Breathe deep here. What you're going to do is shift your weight to the left. Draw the right foot behind you. Toe pointing down, foot engaged. Then bend the knee, lift the foot up towards the ceiling. Then start to open that hip. So the foot starts to come over to the left a little bit, but you're still able to find grounding through the hands on the mat, through that left leg. Good, breathe. Slowly draw that knee back in towards the left, so it comes slowly back down to the mat. Not coming to the mat yet. Lengthen that leg one more time. Bend the knee, open that hip, draw the core in. Breathe deep. Good, slowly draw that leg, that knee back in. Good. Now this time you can draw the knee down. And instead of going into the wide leg child's pose, go into a normal child's pose. Draw the hips down and back, release the arms, roll out the wrists. Good, hands and knees. Slowly coming back up. Make sure you're back in your alignment. All right, last time. Draw the weight to the left. Lengthen the right leg, engage the foot. Bend the knee, foot up towards the ceiling, and open the hip. That right foot is acting like it's coming over to the left. Make sure you ground down to that left leg. Make sure you're relaxing the shoulders. Breathe deep. Good. Now let that foot come over to the left. You're going to slowly rotate onto the left side of the leg. Reach up with that right arm. Breathe. Keep pushing into that right leg. Keep drawing the hips up. Don't let them sink down. Good. Draw the hand gently down to the mat as you rotate back. Go into a quick child's pose. Roll out wrist if you need to. Breathe deep. Good. Come back up to hands and knees. Find your foundation. Good. Weight to the left. Draw the right foot back. Bend the knee. Lift the foot up. Open that hip. Let the foot come over to the left side so that you slowly rotate onto the side of your left leg. Reach up with that right arm. Draw the core in. Keep pushing down and grounding into that right foot. Good. Breathe. Good. Hand slowly comes back down. Slowly rotate back. Slowly go into a child's pose. Roll out wrists, shoulders, relax, and breathe. All right, come back up to hands and knees. Find your foundation once again. Wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. If you feel like you're starting to come off the mat, allow yourself to come back to center onto your mat. Good. Last time, shift your weight to the left. Draw that right foot behind you. Activate that foot. Bend the knee, lift it up, open the hip, let it come over to the left as you slowly rotate a little bit onto the side of that left foot. Open the hip, keep letting that knee come up. Keep lifting through the core. I know there's a lot going on. Soften the shoulders and reach up with that right arm. Good. The gaze can be up, maybe to the side or gently looking down. It's going to be what feels best for your neck. Good. One more deep breath. You got it here. Slowly draw the arm back down. Slowly rotate back. Now this time go into a wide leg child's pose. And soften and release. Good. Come back up to hands and knees, knees back underneath the hips and wrist under shoulders. Find your foundation. All right, now we're going to do the next side. So when you're ready, shift your weight over to the right. Draw the left foot back behind you, toe pointing down so the foot is engaged. Bend the knee, foot up, then open the hip. Draw the core in. Draw that foot a little bit to the right, not fully, but just enough to open that hip. Keep grounding down through both arms, both hands. Slowly draw the leg back in. Let it hover, don't let it come all the way down to the mat. Then lengthen that leg gently back. Good, engage the foot. Keep lifting up, keep using the core. Bend the knee, open the hip. Draw that core in. Keep lifting up through those hands, both left and right. Feel the grounding of that right foot and right leg as it's down. Slowly draw that left leg in, coming back to meet the right. Cover, lengthen. Good. Bend the knee, open the hip, breathe. Draw the core in, soften those shoulders. Gently draw the leg back in. Good. Let the knee come down, come into a normal child's pose. Roll out those wrists, soften and release. It might feel good as you've shifted the weight a little bit off of that left one. Good. Come back into hands and knees. Find your foundation, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Make any adjustments if you need. Good. Draw your left leg back as you shift your weight to the right. Activate that foot, toe pointing down. Bend the knee, open that hip. Keep lifting up, keep drawing the core in. Soften the shoulders, relax the jaw. Engage the foot. Breathe deep. Notice how it feels on this side. Good. Now slowly let that foot come over to the right as you rotate a little bit onto the side of that right foot. Lift that left arm up. Draw the core in. Good. Breathe deep. Slowly rotate the hand down, then the knee. Go into a child's pose. So just release. Roll those wrists out. That right wrist is now holding all the weight. Good. Slowly come back up to hands and knees. From hands and knees, check in with that foundation. Draw in the core. Shift the weight to the right. Draw that left leg back. Ground down into the right leg into the mat. Bend the knee. Start to open the hip a little bit deeper by drawing that foot over to the right side. You're kind of rotating onto the side of the right foot. Lift up through the core. Reach up with that left arm. Good. Slowly rotate back, hands, knees, child's pose to release those wrists. Give yourself a moment to breathe deep, to stretch in any way you need through those arms or through those wrists. Good. Hands and knees. Find your foundation. Wrist under shoulders, knees under hips. Engage the core. Good. Shift the weight. Left leg comes behind you. Engage that foot. Bend the knee. Good. Let the foot come over to your right side. Lift up through the core a little bit. Keep grounding that leg down, opening that hip. Left arm comes up. Good. Breathe deep. Good. Keep breathing. Good. Hand comes down. Slowly rotate. Adjust. Release. Relax. Roll out those wrists. Soften where you need to. Good. Hands and knees. Find your foundation. Good. As you set back up, just check back in. Notice how you feel, what's changed. Draw the core in. Curl the toes. Shift the weight back. Cover the knees, then lift all the way into your downward dog. Good. Pedal out those heels if you need a little release. Good. Breathe deep. Gaze forward. Come into a forward fold by walking those hands and those feet to meet one another. Sometimes they meet in the middle. Sometimes the feet meet the hands. And sometimes you just got to walk it up to the front of the mat. Good. So make sure that you have room behind you. And once you get here, check in. Make sure your feet are underneath of your hips. They're in line with each other and the mat. Give your shoulders a little release, the neck a little release. Then come up to a nice flat back, which is drawing the shoulders together. Sometimes the hands come to the legs. Draw the core in, gently gazing down. Then release back into those legs. Good. Try not to hold the body up, so let the hands just soften. If the hands come to the mat, maybe letting the backs of the hands relax onto the mat so that you're not holding yourself up. Good. Now bend your knees. Sink your hips down and back, chest peeling off the thighs as the arms start to come up to frame the ears of the chair. Go ahead and engage those thighs, then push on up as arms come into prayer. Good. Reach those arms back up and overhead. Exhale, fold back into your legs. Then as you fold back into your legs this time, start to walk your feet wide so they find the long edges of your mat. Heels stay in, toes start to come out to 10 and 2. Start to bend the knees so the hands come to your mat. Your hips start to sink down and back. We're coming into a yoga squat. So notice if the feet are a little too far, maybe draw them in a little bit, but keep the toes out. Good. All right, find your balance. Try to push into the outer edges of the feet, not just coming inward. Maybe the hands are in by the feet to kind of push the thighs open just a little bit. Or maybe your hands can come into prayer. Good. Breathe. See if you can draw the shoulders together. Relax the jaw. Good. Exhale, hands down to the mat. Lift the hips gently up. Good. Lengthen those legs. Keep the feet where they are though, because we're going to go back into that squat. Good. Bend those knees, hands to the mat. Come back down. All right. This time, keep your hands down onto the mat. Walk your left hand to the center a little bit, but maybe if it's easier to help keep that thigh open, it's okay to keep that hand by the left foot. Okay. With this right hand, start to draw it out to T. And you're just gazing at it. So maybe this is exactly where you feel comfortable and you feel balanced. If you want to go a little deeper, reach the arm up towards the ceiling, but keep opening this right hip. Good. Gently draw the hand down to the mat. Lift the hips up. Lengthen those legs. Come into a fold, but keep the legs where they are. Good. Gently bend those knees. Come back down into that yoga squat. Keep grounding down into the sides of the feet. If you need to draw the feet in a little closer or wider, do so. Good. Now right hand onto the floor, maybe center or close to that right leg. Then start to draw the left arm out at T and just gaze at it. Maybe that's where you are. Maybe you can reach that arm up towards the ceiling. Keep opening that left hip. Good. Breathe and release down. Hands to the mat. Lift those hips back up. Good. Release. One more time. Come back into your yoga squat. When you're ready, right arm comes out at T. Find your arm position. Then gently reach up. Keep opening the hip. Breathe deep. See if you can come to the outer edges of both feet. One more deep breath and slowly draw the hand back down. Good. You need to release, gently release by coming out of the yoga squat. And come back in when you're ready. Right hand down, left arm out at T. If that's where you're at, stay here. If you want to go deeper, reach the arm up. Breathe. Keep opening the hips, come out to the outer edges. Good, one more deep breath, hand gently down. Lengthen those legs. Wait, walk those feet, back in, and then wiggle those legs out, kind of lifting the heels, maybe lifting the toes and the heels, rocking back and forth. Good, wiggle those legs out. Bend the knees as much as you need, hands down onto the mat. Walk the feet back one at a time into downward dog. Give those legs a little movement. Good. All right, walk those feet back to meet the hands. Forward fold. Just might notice how different the hips and the legs feel as you move from one position to the other. Good, make sure your feet are in line with each other and the mat. Come up to your flat back, drawing shoulders together, gazing down, lengthening the spine. Release back into those legs, shrug it out. Bend your knees, sink your hips down and back, chest peeling up, arms to frame. Come on up to stand as hands come into prayer. Good, reach the arms back up and overhead. And then exhale, fold back into those legs. Good. Come up to a nice flat back one more time. Release back into those legs. Start to come into chair, bending knees, sinking hips down and back, chest peeling up, arms to frame. Draw the core in. Draw the thighs together. Then come up to stand as hands come into prayer. Reach the arms back up and overhead. Exhale, fold back into those legs. Good. One more. Flat back. Breathe deep. Release. Forward fold, soften. Come into chair. Bending knees, sinking hips down and back, chest peeling up, arms to gently frame, hands engaged, but also core engaged. Come on up to stand, hands around and into prayer. From prayer, reach those arms back up and overhead. Exhale, fold back into your legs. Come back into your downward dog. Walking the feet back behind you, upside down V. Pedal out those legs if you need it. Good, knees to the mat. Child's pose of your choice, which means knees wide or legs together. Draw those hips down towards your heels, head down towards the mat. Soften the arms or the shoulders at least. And just breathe. Good, come back to hands and knees. From your hands and knees, begin to slowly come in to your seated posture. From your seated posture, come on down to laying position. It's your choice how you want to get there. If you want a little extra core effort, lengthen the legs, arms out in front of you, you slowly roll down. Good. All right, come into windshield wipes. Arms out at T. Soften shoulders. Spread the hands, but don't grip them. Bend the knees and then walk your feet wide. Tuck the chin, draw the core in. Exhale, knees to the right, gaze to the left. Deep breath, come back to center, head and knees. And then exhale, knees to the left and gaze to the right. Continue to do this just a few rounds. Don't feel rushed. Just breathe. Just connect. Good. Finish up last rounds. Then when you come back to center, walk the feet closer in. Make sure they're still kind of hip distance though, so the feet aren't together. Then walk your heels in towards your hips. Draw your arms down by your sides and then shrug the shoulders underneath so you lift the chest up. Draw the core in, tuck the chin. Ground down through the feet, ground down through your shoulders and start to lift your hips off the mat into bridge. Draw the thighs together though, because they want to open. We've been opening those hips, so it's kind of natural. Exhale, release one vertebrae slowly down at a time. Good, just gonna do this 2 more times. Inhale, pushing, begin to lift up. Doesn't mean you need to come all the way up, just a gentle lift. Exhale, slowly release back down. Last time, as you lift up, come into a place of stillness. Maybe you can draw the arms underneath, kind of shrugging the shoulders or kind of drawing the shoulders underneath a little bit more. Tuck the chin and breathe. 3 deep breaths. Third breath, you release the hands if you drew them together. Slowly release down 1 vertebrae at a time. Once the body's down onto the mat, lengthen the legs, reach the arms overhead, full body stretch. And arms down, toes up. Good. 1 more. Full body stretch. And then release. Good. Now, any last movements, any last things that you would like to do before Shavasana, please give yourself that time. If you have any props that you would like, such as a blanket, such as a pillow, or an eye pillow, please get that for yourself. Take a deep breath in. Take a deep breath out. Once you're ready for your Shavasana and you're set up, relax. Fully relax. So maybe take a few more of those deep breaths. Start to really let go of tension, let go of any effort. The only thing you need to do right now is just simply rest, simply relax and digest the practice you have, that you just went through. So let the legs come into a position that's comfortable, maybe a little bit away from the body. Same with the arms. Maybe the palms want to be up and just a little bit away to relax, to let go of any tension, any sensation that's uncomfortable. Take a deep breath in. Sigh out deeply through the mouth. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Roll out wrists and shoulders, ankles and knees, elbows, all of the body just slowly stretching, slowly releasing, and just awakening. Try to keep the eyes closed for now and just slowly roll over to one side when you're ready. You can use that bottom arm and just kind of brace and hold the head. Good. Come back up to a seated posture. Once you get into that seated posture, lengthen the spine, soften the face, relax the shoulders. Let your hands find the lap, palms up. This is for the gift of receiving. And I want you to take a moment to send yourself some gratitude, some compassion, some love for this practice that you gave yourself. It's not always easy, especially an at-home practice. So thank yourself for this time, for this effort. Good. Draw the hands together into prayer. Come back to your intention that you set at the beginning of practice. And know that it's always with you. It's right there on the surface. You can come back to it at any time. And I just want to thank you for letting me guide you. That trust and honesty, but also that trust and honesty you gave to yourself to go through with this practice. That light in me sees that same beautiful light in you. And we share that. We're connected. We are one. Namaste.